All right, welcome to another deep dive. We are tackling some pretty big questions today. It's all about the power of the mind, how we can reprogram our brains, to live a truly extraordinary life.
Oh, I like that.
Our source material this time, an article called O Poder da Mente, which translates to The Power of the Mind.
Catchy.
It's written by Marynês Pereira, and she is an expert in a bunch of fascinating fields: neuroscience, quantum physics, oh, and positive psychology, too. Pereira specifically wanted us to credit her for her work.
At the beginning and the end.
Right, beginning and end of this deep dive. So there you go. Done.
Let's get into it. I'm excited about this one.
Me too. So Pereira, she starts off by pointing out something that I found really interesting. There is like a huge surge of interest these days in the power of the mind.
And the best part,
Yeah.
science is actually backing it up. It's
Yeah.
not just wishful thinking anymore, you know?
It's not just like a new agey thing. There's real weight behind it.
Exactly.
And then Pereira dives right into one of the core concepts here, neuroplasticity.
Okay.
This amazing ability of the brain to change. I mean, doesn't this kind of blow that old belief out of the water that our brains are fixed, like after a certain age?
Yeah, that we're stuck with what we got, that's out the window. Neuroplasticity is like discovering that continents drift. Remember those old maps?
Like where they thought the continents were just fixed in place.
Right. But then we learned about tectonic plates and how they constantly shift. Well, neuroplasticity is like that for the brain. A whole new map, you could say.
Wow, that's a great analogy. So hold on. If neuroplasticity is real, does that mean if we just think differently, we can literally rewire our brains?
You got it. And the coolest thing is, it's not just theory. There are studies, for instance, on meditation that show actual changes.
In the brain, measurable changes.
Measurable, like increased gray matter, not just anywhere, but in the areas of the brain that handle things like attention,
Okay.
emotional regulation, and even compassion. It's like proof that we are not limited by the brain we were born with.
That's just wild. I'm getting chills over here. So we've all got these supercomputers in our heads.
Yeah.
And we're only starting to understand how to really use them. So how do we actually do it? How do we harness this power? Because Pereira brings up affirmations, and full disclosure, I've always been kind of skeptical.
I get it.
Like, do they really work?
A lot of people feel that way. But Pereira frames affirmations alongside things like prayers, wishes, and goals as a form of mental training.
Oh, interesting.
She links it to this idea of autosuggestion. You might have heard of it. It's from Napoleon Hill.
Vaguely.
Yeah, it's basically about influencing your subconscious mind. But you do it through repetition, like giving yourself suggestions over and over.
So it's not like just saying some magic words and poof, miracles happen.
No magic wands
But
here.
It's more about training your brain actively to think in a different way.
Exactly. And there's a real neuroscientific basis for how it works. When you repeat positive affirmations, and you do it with conviction, with feeling, you're actually strengthening those neural pathways.
The pathways for positive thoughts.
Yes. And at the same time, you're weakening the pathways connected to any negativity or limiting beliefs that might be holding you back.
So if I keep saying, I am confident, my brain starts to actually believe it.
There's a little more to it than just repeating it like a robot, though. Pereira really stresses the role of visualization and emotion. You got to feel it, too.
Okay, I can see that.
It's not just words. Imagine yourself walking into a room, head held high,
Yeah.
feeling self-assured, capable. You create the whole scene in your mind.
I can see how that would make a difference. But I bet plenty of our listeners have tried affirmations before and felt like they were, I don't know, maybe they were duds. I know I have. Is there some secret ingredient to making affirmations truly effective?
Pereira has a really important point about this. The affirmations have to be meaningful to you personally.
Oh, okay.
They can't just be generic statements. They got to resonate with your core beliefs,
Yeah.
your desires.
So if I don't truly believe I can achieve something.
Repeating, I am successful, isn't going to do much.
Right.
Because deep down, a part of you is saying, yeah, right. It has to align with what you genuinely want.
That makes a lot of sense. It's like trying to convince yourself of something you don't even buy into.
Exactly. And being specific helps too. Instead of a general, I am healthy, try something like, I nourish my body with healthy foods and exercise because I deserve to feel strong and vibrant.
I love that. It's like you're not just stating something, you're creating a whole affirmation that feels true to you. And it actually reminds me, of how I use kind of mental training during my workouts. Like, I'll visualize myself lifting heavier weights, running faster.
Oh, yeah.
And it really does push me further.
There you go. See? It shows that this isn't just some abstract personal development thing. It works in real life.
Yeah.
It's all about the mind-body connection.
Yeah, it's like giving yourself a mental pep talk.
Yeah.
But things get even more interesting. Pereira brings quantum physics into the equation.
Uh-oh. Here we go.
She's arguing that reality isn't fixed. It's more like a field of possibilities that we can influence with our observation and intention.
I know.
This is where my brain starts to feel a little fried.
It'd be a jump.
A little bit.
Yeah, it takes some getting used to. But stick with me because this is where it gets really, really cool. So, quantum physics is saying that at like the most basic level, reality, it's not made up of these solid objects like we usually think. It's more of a, I guess you could say, a field of possibilities, this kind of cosmic soup, of potential. And get this, our thoughts, our emotions, they're forms of energy, right?
Right.
Well, they interact with this field.
Wait, so you mean like my thoughts aren't just like happening inside my head? They're actually like rippling out into the universe,
Right.
And maybe even changing things. That sounds like a sci-fi movie.
I know, right? But there is a lot of research these days that actually supports this idea. There's, have you heard of the double slit experiment?
Vaguely, yeah.
Okay, well, it shows that, like, just observing something can change how it behaves at the quantum level. It's like reality is waiting for us to decide, to, like, collapse all those possibilities into one specific outcome.
My mind is officially blown, but let's bring it back to affirmations for a sec. How does quantum physics connect to, changing our lives with affirmations?
Okay, so think of it this way. Our thoughts and emotions, they're energy. And this energy interacts with that field of possibilities we talked about. So if we focus on positive thoughts, affirmations, we're basically sending our energy toward those things we want. We're telling the universe, hey, this is what I want to experience. This is the reality I'm creating.
So it's not just positive thinking in general. It's about aligning our energy with those specific things we want to, manifest? Is that the right word?
Exactly. And that's where Pereira's personal journey comes in. She talks about how she started looking into quantum physics back in 2012. And it totally changed how she saw the world. She realized that she wasn't just along for the ride. She was actively creating her reality.
Wow, that's powerful. It's like she went from feeling, powerless to realizing that she could actually shape her own destiny. That must have had such a huge impact on her life.
Oh, absolutely. She started applying these ideas, affirmations, visualizations, to create those experiences she wanted.
Yeah.
But she also makes it clear it wasn't instant. It took work. Changing her mindset, really believing in her own power.
It's not about expecting overnight miracles then. It's more like committing to the process, trusting that it works. So, we've talked about neuroplasticity, quantum physics, pretty radical if you ask me, but what about positive psychology? Where does that fit in?
Right, good question. Because Pereira doesn't just focus on the more out there stuff. She really emphasizes good old-fashioned positive psychology too. In the article, she highlights things like gratitude, optimism, resilience, all those positive emotions.
So it's not just about thinking positive thoughts. It's about actually feeling them, making those emotions a part of, your everyday life.
Yeah. Exactly. And this is how it all connects. Positive affirmations, they actually help reinforce those positive emotions.
Yeah.
It's a cycle, When you say something like, I am grateful for all the good in my life, you're not just saying words. You're really cultivating that feeling of gratitude. And that feeling, then it starts to influence your thoughts, your behavior, and in the end, your experiences.
It's almost like you're choosing your own adventure, but instead of choosing a path and a story, you're choosing what emotional reality you want to be in.
Love that analogy. It's about making conscious choices, right?
Yeah.
How we want to feel, what kind of energy we're putting out into the world.
This is also fascinating. We've gone from the nuts and bolts of our brains to the universe and then to the power of positive emotions. I don't know about you, but I'm feeling pretty pumped about the idea that we have way more control than we think, over our lives, our experiences.
It's definitely empowering.
Yeah.
But I think it's good to keep in mind, this isn't about, wishing for things to just magically happen or pretending everything is always perfect.
Right. It's not about ignoring the hard stuff. It's more about making that choice to focus on the positive.
Yes.
And using these tools, affirmations, visualization, all that, to actively create the reality we want, recognizing that we have the power to choose how we think, how we feel, and in doing that, we're shaping the course of our lives.
Absolutely. It's about taking ownership, you know, of our mental and emotional well-being. We're the architects of our own experience.
Okay, so how do we actually do it? How do people listening, how can they start to use these principles in their everyday lives? Because Pereira doesn't just leave us hanging, she gives some really practical advice.
One of the big things is consistency, like working out. You're not going to see results if you only do it once in a blue moon. Pereira suggests repeating your affirmations regularly, ideally multiple times a day.
And she says it's not about just mindlessly saying the words, it's about really feeling them, seeing yourself actually achieving those goals.
It's about engaging everything, all your senses, creating this vivid mental image. Like, if your affirmation is, I am financially abundant, you don't just say the words, you imagine it. How would it feel to be financially secure, having the resources to do what you love, living that life of freedom and abundance?
Sounds like you gotta get a little creative with it.
For sure. You're tapping into your inner artist, and creating this compelling vision for your future.
Do you have any, personal tips for making affirmations work better?
Something I like to do is write them down and put them up in places where I'll see them throughout the day. It's a constant reminder. Helps to keep those messages top of mind.
Like little motivational posters all around you.
Exactly. You can also try working affirmations into your routines, like saying them while you're getting ready, during your commute, before you go to sleep.
I like that. Weaving them into those everyday moments makes it feel more natural, less like, I don't know, a chore or something.
And remember, it's about finding what clicks for you. There's no right or wrong way. Experiment. See what feels good.
Pereira also talks about how important it is to actually believe in the power of affirmations. If we're doing it with a ton of doubt, it's probably not going to work that well.
So true. Our beliefs, they really do shape our reality. If we're thinking this is just a bunch of positive words, no real power, then that's probably what we'll get. But if we truly believe my thoughts can make a difference, well, then we open up a whole world of possibility.
It's about having faith in the process, trusting that our minds are capable of amazing things.
Exactly. And one more thing. It's important to remember, change takes time. Don't expect overnight results. Be patient. Keep practicing. The more you work with affirmations, the more natural they'll become. And the more effective, too.
It's like planting a seed, right? You got to give it time to grow.
Love that. And like a plant, it needs care to thrive.
Okay, so we've covered, the science behind this, the visualization, the emotions, belief. But what about, actually using this? How can we use affirmations to make things better in specific areas of our lives?
That's where the magic happens. You can use them for so many things. Confidence, motivation, relationships, money, even to get rid of those limiting beliefs that hold us back.
Wow. Okay, so give me some examples.
Sure. Let's say you want more confidence. You could use affirmations like, I am confident, I am capable, or I believe in myself and my abilities.
And if someone's struggling with motivation?
You could try, I am full of energy and enthusiasm.
Uh-huh.
Or, I am passionate about reaching my goals.
Right.
And relationships, something like, I am loved, I am supported. Or, I attract healthy, fulfilling relationships into my life.
These are super helpful. It's pretty incredible how you can adapt affirmations to fit, whatever you need or want.
And the key is, choose ones that speak to you. Feel real.
Yeah.
Don't just pick words because they sound nice. Pick words that truly reflect what you want deep down.
Pereira really emphasizes that, making affirmations personally meaningful.
It's about creating affirmations that align with your soul, your purpose, your dreams.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground today, the science, practical tips. But before we wrap up, there's one more point Pereira brings up that I want to touch on. Gratitude.
Oh, that's a good one. Gratitude is so powerful. It can really change everything.
It's about, appreciating what we have, even when things are tough.
Yeah. When we practice gratitude, we shift our focus from what we're missing to what we already have. And that creates this feeling of, abundance, contentment.
Pereira even suggests using gratitude affirmations. Things like, I am so grateful for all the good things in my life, or I appreciate all the abundance around me.
Those are great. And here's the thing. The more we express gratitude, the more good stuff we attract. It's another one of those positive cycles.
Like a magnet for good things.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
It reminds us to see the good stuff, which can be tough when we're busy and stressed.
For sure. Gratitude helps us to be present. Appreciate the little things.
Pereira's article is all about how our thoughts, emotions, and experiences are all connected. We're creating this mindset that supports us, helps us create the reality we want.
It's about getting our inner world and outer world on the same page
Right.
and making a life that feels, true and fulfilling.
It's a journey of self-discovery,
Right.
of empowerment. And it all begins with the power of our own mind, such a powerful journey. And, before we go any further, I want to make sure we're giving credit where it's due, like we said at the beginning.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
All these amazing insights, they come from Marynês Pereira, the author of O Poder da Mente, which is, of course, The Power of the Mind.
Totally. Her background, neuroscience, quantum physics, and positive psychology. It's given us so much to think about today.
Pereira's message, it really comes down to this. We have the power. It's inside each of us. Our brains, they're incredible tools, right? And using things like positive affirmations, that can help us reprogram those tools to create a more fulfilling life. And it's not about, pretending the hard stuff doesn't exist. It's about actively choosing to focus on the positive and using our minds to shape our reality.
We have more control over our thoughts, our emotions, than we often realize.
Yeah.
It's a practice, a conscious choice to cultivate that positive, empowered mindset every single day.
This deep dive has been incredible. I don't know about you, but I am so inspired to actually start using all of this, to harness the power of my mind and create a reality that is aligned with what I really want deep down.
Me too. It's exciting, right?
Yeah.
And I want to leave everyone with this question. If we really can shape reality with our thoughts, what kind of reality do you want to create?
Wow, that's a powerful question to think about. Thank you all for joining us on this deep dive into the incredible power of the mind. Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep believing in the amazing potential that's within each and every one of you.